All right, this is great. So a biconditional is a single true statement that combines a true conditional and its true converse. If you know that the conditional and its converse are true, then what you're really getting there, you'll see this, is that it's like this, where it's flowing in both directions. Okay? Then you can write it as an if and only if statement. If you know one, you know the other, and always. Okay? If one is true, then the other is true always. So you can write a biconditional by joining the two parts of each conditional with the phrase if and only if. And by the way, we're also going to talk about a good definition, which if it's a good definition, it can be written as a biconditional. Okay? It's if and only if this is true. You'll see. Okay? What is the converse of the following true conditional? Notice that they tell you it's true. There's sometimes where you're just given the information that the original conditional is true, and they are telling you this. What's the converse of it? If the converse is also true, write it as a biconditional. So here it is. If the sum of the measures of two angles is 180, then the two angles are supplementary. Okay? First you got to identify what is the hypothesis and the conclusion of it. So let's do that. Let's identify the hypothesis of it. The sum of the measures of the two angles is 180. And the conclusion, the two angles are supplementary. If we were to write the converse, we would have to switch those. Yeah? So let's do that. If two angles are supplementary, then the sum of the measures of the two angles is 180. That's true. So now we can write this as a biconditional using if and only if, that two angles are supplementary if and only if the sum of the measures of the two angles is 180 degrees, meaning there's no other situation where angles are supplementary than if their angles sum to 180. Okay? And fun fact about that is you could rewrite it in the other way too. You could say if the sum of the measures of two angles is 180, then the two angles are supplementary. The hypothesis and conclusion, it doesn't matter which one comes before if and only if and which comes after, because it flows in both directions. Okay? So the biconditional can be written in that way or it can be written in that way. And you could write it in the other way. You can read it this way and you can see that it's true as well. Here's your got it problem. See what you can do. So, like I just said, you can combine a biconditional if P implies Q and then its converse is Q implies P, then we can write it like this where it flows both ways, okay? A point is a midpoint if and only if it divides a segment into two incongruent segments. P implies Q and Q implies P, so P if and only if Q, okay? And of course, you could split this up into two regular conditional statements. How would you do that? You would identify first the part that is before and the part that is after, if and only if. So we can say a point is a midpoint, and then it divides the segment into two congruent segments. Because what we'll do now is we will split that up. And we're going to do it with this particular new statement. What are the two conditional statements that form this biconditional? Array is an angle bisector if and only if it divides an angle into two congruent angles. That's true. So let's say what's before if and only if? Right here. What's after if and only if? Right here. So let's take a look. Sorry for the noise. Let's take a look now at what we've got. They give us that for P in red and that for Q in blue, and we are going to write them into two statements. First we say P implies Q. If array is an angle bisector, then it divides an angle into two congruent angles. And then we write Q implies P. If array divides an angle into two congruent angles, then it is an angle bisector. So you're writing the two conditional statements that go together into the biconditional separately. You're splitting it apart like that. Try that with yours right here. Two numbers are reciprocals if and only if their product is 1. Split it into two conditional statements now. So we talked about this in Unit 1, that the terms point, line, and plane are undefined, but we're going to build from there. We understand what they are, and then we can use them to define terms such as segments. Now, what does it mean to be a definition? Well, what does it mean to specifically be a good definition? A good definition is a statement that can help you classify or identify an object, but you have to know whether something fits in that group or not. So a good definition has several important components. It uses clearly understood terms, and you'll see some imprecise and unclear terms. These terms should be commonly understood and clearly defined. And it is precise. Good definitions don't use words like large, sort of, or almost, where you're not really sure if you're in or out of that group. And a good definition is reversible, meaning you can write it as a biconditional. Let's apply this. All right, so we're trying to test whether this is a good definition and write down the conditional and the converse and see if they're both true is essentially what we're going to do here. So, is this definition of quadrilateral reversible? If yes, write it as a true biconditional. A quadrilateral is a polygon with 4 sides. Okay, so if we write it as a conditional, we get, oops. If a figure is a quadrilateral, then it is a polygon with 4 sides. Okay, notice the word changes that they needed to make in order to make it make sense. They put if a figure. Don't just say if it is a quadrilateral, but be a little bit more precise that we're talking about figures here. Then it is a polygon with 4 sides. Cool. What about the converse of that? Well, if a figure is a polygon with 4 sides, then it is a quadrilateral. Is that true? Yeah, that's also true. So because they're both true, we can then say a figure is a quadrilateral if and only if it is a polygon with 4 sides. And that's the essence of what this says, which is, how do we determine whether something is reversible? Well, we write both the conditional and its converse and see if they're both true. Here's your got it problem. Let me embiggen it up a little for you and try it and see how you do. So one way to show that a statement is not a good definition is to find a counterexample to it, something that makes it not work. So what do we got here? Identifying good definitions. Which is a good definition? A fish is an animal that swims. Rectangles have 4 corners. Giraffes are animals with very long necks. And a penny is a coin worth 1 cent. Well, how can we eliminate answer choices? We can eliminate an answer choice if the definition fails to meet one of those components of a good definition, and we're going to break through these now. For example, we've got a fish is an animal that swims. It seems like a dubious thing. It's not reversible, okay? An animal that swims is not a fish necessarily, okay? So it's not an if and only if thing, okay? A whale is an animal that swims, but it is a mammal, not a fish. Choice B, rectangles have 4 corners. Corners is not, we don't use that in geometry, and that's not clear what you mean by corners, okay? All quadrilaterals have 4 corners. They maybe mean by corners they're trying to suggest 90-degree angles, but that's not what it says, so that's problematic, okay? Choice B, or choice C rather. Giraffes are animals with very long necks. Very long is not precise. I had a friend who had a very long neck compared to normal people. Does that make them a giraffe? You decide. Now, also choice C is not reversible because You could say animals with very long necks are giraffes, and that's not true, okay? Choice D, though, is a good definition. And why do we think that's a good definition? Because it's reversible, it's a coin worth 1 cent, and it's a penny, and all of the things in there are clearly defined and they're precise. So we would say, yeah, D is a good one. Okay, try this got it problem to see if you can identify a good definition. Okay, test what you know. Try all of these lesson check problems. They're fun, and if you don't get it right, you're going to know it, and you're going to want to find out why. So these are worth doing. Good luck.